Today's video, we're going to be talking about best practices in cybersecurity inside a data center. And what does that mean? Normally, people would think about cybersecurity, they're thinking about, how do they protect their laptop? How do they protect their home PC or maybe their office PCs? But nobody ever thinks about the cybersecurity and the security that goes on behind the scenes inside a data center. Now, let me give you some examples for you to understand why it's so different. In a data center, it is a lot more uh, condensed area to where there's a lot more businesses, there's a lot more different types of industries that are focused in a specific location that creates content, and that content delivers itself over the internet. And that provides a really big breeding ground for hackers and people really wanting to access that data. So what do? You got to watch out for the hackers on that side. So it's really tough to keep your eyes on all the sides. But in the past, I've been part of that, that side of the world to where it was, constantly a cat and mouse game trying to find out who's hitting the network, trying to find out who's trying to hit up the firewall and who's trying to run scans on the ports, who's calling in and pretending they're customers. I've seen pretty much it all. And trust me, it exists. So those worst movies that you see of people going into the data centers and kind of sneaking around from the ceiling doesn't really happen. But I'm telling you right now, it's a lot more accessible than you would probably think. And if you're at a data center that they're running no sort of protocol or no kind of SOC audit or any kind of security involved whatsoever, you're going to fall victim to one of these problems sometime soon. And it's a matter of how you're protecting your servers, how you're protecting your data, and how do you retrieve that information and when and if it does happen. Because no matter how hard you think you have things secured, especially on your network or maybe on your database server, your data is always going to be exposed to somebody that's going to be out there. So what I wanted to do today was just cover a quick couple points of what you should be looking at if you're looking into a data center. And those sort of things, I'm going to cover kind of maybe 3 of the topics. I mean, there's 7 of them really that kind of cover the entire industry. But first and foremost is number 1, understanding where your network comes from. So if you're picking up, if you have servers co-located in a data center and you are picking up internet from a larger tier 1 provider or tier 2 provider, or even the data center itself, what are their policies around, DDoS attacks, port scans, and things of that nature? Because mostly people that go into the data center are buying internet or they're buying some sort of data circuit. They're kind of used to already with the fact that there is no firewalling whatsoever. So they are completely wild west directly to that firewall, and everything is going to be exposed. So you have to prepare from day one, as soon as you get into that data center and your network goes live, that you are going to find people all over the world trying to hit that specific IP address and do port scans and find out, hey, what's exposed. And then from there, you have 0-day exploits that are found also within that server or that firewall or pretty much that that checkpoint firewall that you're running. You run the latest greatest firmware that hasn't been really tested out, and then all of a sudden somebody finds a backdoor to it. That's going to be easy backdoor. Now, I'm not calling out any sort of firewall company or anything of that nature. I'm just providing an example, so don't get all excited on me. So other than that, you have those sort of exploits that happen. Now, another big thing that people don't really understand is not just your connectivity that needs to be secured, but also the servers you're running, making sure that they're patched down correctly, making sure that your system admin is going through and making sure they're updating, any of the operating systems that require those security updates that are constantly rolling through, whether it's Windows, whether it's Linux, whether it's Red Hat, Ubuntu, you name it, it's all out there. So making sure that those things are going to really help you, against those things, because you might not be able to get past the firewall, but you might find a vulnerability open in a certain port somewhere that might have a 0-day exploit on that as well. And one I wanted to get, kind of focus on last but not least is the actual, not only physical security to that data center, who are they letting that data center in, and who are those people coming in, what can they see, and what can they run their fingers by. So if they're walking by, down an aisle in the data center, they open up a door, your stuff is completely exposed. Are they running checks to make sure that the cabinets are locked every single night or every single shift? Is one of those things that you can ask any data center basically to find out if they do that sort of thing. And last but not least, but how is the data center circumventing some sort of, either some sort of small factor authentication when somebody calls in? I've seen it before. I've actually been in the network operations center, and I had someone call saying that they were the CEO of that company and they wanted their servers turned off. And I can tell you right now, I knew the CEO of that company, and it was definitely not CEO of that company. So just working with that and understanding the stuff that happens, that kind of stuff happens on pretty much a weekly basis. So whether it's, a customer that's angry at their hosting provider, or whether it's competition and they want that provider down for some sort of reason, you name it, it's out there. People try to do it all the time. So other than that, I like to kind of lead you guys through and take a look at kind of the blog we put together. We put together kind of a cheat sheet of those sort of things that you can ask for when you're going into a data center, of do we cover these sort of things? And if you do have problems with that and you do want somebody to help guide you through that, you could get any one of us at Infrastructure Guys, and we'd be more than glad to help you through your journey. Other than that, I really appreciate your time today, and please hit the like and subscribe if you like these videos. Talk to you soon.